And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give this land to you to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said to him, this is a sacrificial story again, take a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a ram of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. It's fairly specific, actually. And he took all these and divided them, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not. Now, there's a reason for that, and I don't know the reason for it. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. That didn't mean he was afraid of the dark, which is what I thought it meant when I first read it. It isn't what it means. It means that he fell into a trance or something like that. And then he was enveloped by absolute horror. So that's how this story begins. And here's the commentary from Joseph Benson, who was an English Methodist minister who lived in 1749, was born in 1749. And when the sun was going down, about the time of the evening oblation, the washing, for he abode by them, praying and waiting till toward evening, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. Well, this was not a common sleep through weariness or carelessness. I don't know what a sloop is. That's supposed to be sleep. Not a common sleep through weariness or carelessness, but a divine ecstasy, that being wholly taken off from things sensible, he might be wholly taken up with the contemplation of things spiritual. Well, it really makes you wonder what Abraham was up to in his campsite. So, he was participating in something that enabled this experience. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. This was designed to strike awe upon the spirit of Abram and to possess him with a holy reverence. Holy fear prepares the soul for holy joy. God humbles first and then lifts up. Echoes of psychedelic experience. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve I will judge. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Commentaries of Joseph Benson, once again. They shall come hither again, hither to the land of Canaan, wherein thou now art. The reason why they must not have the land of promise in possession until the 4th generation is because the iniquity of the Amorites was not yet full. The righteous God has determined that the Amorites shall not be cut off till they are arrived at such a pitch of wickedness. And therefore, till it come to that, the seed of Abraham must be kept out of possession. So the interpretation of the story essentially is that Abraham's descendants will end up enslaved in Egypt for a lengthy period of time, and eventually come back to the land of Canaan. And it's interesting too, because this is part of Abram's bargain with God, and in this divine vision, I mean, he's been promised everything, but it's a pretty tough bargain, because you know, when God is pushed or reveals himself, let's say, he says, look, you're going to get your damn descendants, you know, but it's not going to be it's going to be a tough journey. They're going to be enslaved for a very long time, and eventually come back. And you won't see it. You'll be dead long before then. And so it's a realistic promise in a sense. And you might say, well, Abram is so desperate to keep the faith that he's willing to read good into what isn't good. But I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I think the right way to look at it is that the people who wrote these stories were very realistic. And they knew that even if things turned out well for you, I mean, it was still going to be real. You know, it wasn't going to be some fantasy. It's like, let's say you have a family that flourishes. People are still going to die. They're still going to get sick. They're still going to be alive, you know, with all of its suffering. But it'll be a life that's rich enough and complete enough so that it'll justify its nature, essentially. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between the pieces. Albert Barnes, American theologian, commented on this. The oven of smoke and lamp of flame symbolize the smoke of destruction and the light of salvation. They're passing through the pieces of the sacrificial victims and probably consuming them as an accepted sacrifice, are the ratification of the covenant on the part of God, as the dividing and presenting of them were on the part of Abram. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed I have given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites and the Kenizzites and the Cadmonites, etc. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid. Wait a second. I think we'll stop there. I'm tiring out, and it's 9:29, so that's a very good place to stop. So, yes. So I should close properly and just sum up. So what happens here is that Abram enters into a covenant with God to act in the world. And the action is an adventure story, essentially. And the adventures repeat, and they're punctuated by success and sacrifice and recontemplation, right? And so it's this journey. It's the hero's journey uphill. I'm here. There's a crisis. I collapse. I reconstruct myself to a higher place. And life is like that continually. And that's the story of Abram. And that's all contained, though. It's all contained. And this is the thing that's so cool, because that is what your life is going to be like, whether you plan out your life or not. It's going to be punctuated like that. Maybe it won't go up. Maybe it'll go down. The question is, what sort of container do you need to be in order to tolerate the movement up and down? And that's what the story of Abraham provides. It provides a description of the covenant. That's like the ark. The covenant and the ark are the same thing, right? Except the covenant is the psychological equivalent of the ark. And the covenant is have faith in the structure of existence and go forth. That's the covenant. And the story is that's the best possible solution that you have at hand.